The silent vanguard. The quantum drives hummed silently in the void of space as Admiral Sarah Chen stood at the helm of the ESS Nightshade, Earth's most advanced stealth vessel. Her dark eyes reflected the holographic display showing hundreds of ships scattered across the Orion Arm, each one a testament to humanity's secret preparation over the past decade. The hegemony had ruled the known galaxy for over 3 centuries, a coalition of 7 advanced species that maintained their power through technological superiority and brutal subjugation. They had dismissed Earth as a primitive backwater world when they first discovered it 15 years ago, demanding tribute but otherwise leaving humanity to its own devices. It was their first mistake. Final systems check complete, Admiral. Lieutenant Commander Jackson reported from his station. All ships report quantum phase generators at optimal capacity. The hegemony sensor networks still show no sign of detecting our presence. Chen allowed herself a small smile. The quantum phase technology had been humanity's greatest breakthrough. The ability to exist slightly out of phase with normal spacetime, rendering their ships virtually invisible to conventional detection methods. While the hegemony had grown complacent in their dominance, humanity had been innovating, adapting, and preparing. The hegemony's main supply fleet is exactly where intelligence said it would be, Tactical Officer Maya Patel announced, highlighting a massive collection of cargo vessels and escort ships near the Arcturus waypoint. Their shield configurations haven't changed in the past 3 years. They still have no idea we've cracked their defensive algorithms. Chen nodded, her mind already running through the battle plans they had meticulously developed. The supply fleet was crucial to maintaining the hegemony's control over the outer systems. Without it, dozens of subjugated worlds would begin to slip from their grasp. It was the perfect first target for humanity's emergence from the shadows. Send the signal to all ships, Chen commanded, her voice steady despite the weight of history pressing down on this moment. Quantum phase generators to standby. Weapons systems online. Today we show the galaxy that humanity will no longer stand idle while others suffer under tyranny. Throughout the fleet, crews moved with practiced precision. They had trained for years in secret, preparing for this moment. The quantum phase generators thrummed with power, ready to shift the ships back into normal spacetime at exactly the right moment. Advanced targeting systems locked onto vital points of the hegemony vessels, calculating firing solutions that would maximize damage while minimizing casualties. All ships report ready, Admiral, Jackson confirmed. Awaiting your command. Chen took a deep breath, thinking of all the preparations that had led to this moment. The countless sacrifices, the years of secret development, the careful gathering of intelligence. Humanity had learned from history, both their own and others. They knew that freedom had to be fought for, that tyrants never relinquished power willingly. Execute Operation Daybreak, Chen ordered, her words carrying across the entire fleet through quantum-encrypted channels. For Earth and all free peoples. In an instant, hundreds of human ships materialized around the hegemony fleet. The enemy vessel's sensors barely had time to register the sudden appearance before precisely targeted energy beams struck their shield generators. The quantum phase technology allowed human weapons to bypass the hegemony's most advanced defensive systems, striking directly at vital systems. Chaos erupted across the hegemony fleet as alarms blared and crews scrambled to respond to an attack they never saw coming. Their rigid command structure, so effective at maintaining control during peacetime, now worked against them as officers waited for orders that would never arrive in time. Multiple direct hits confirmed, Paddle reported, her voice tight with concentration. Enemy shield generators are offline. Their weapon systems are still cycling up from standby mode. Chen watched as her fleet executed their attack with surgical precision. This wasn't about destruction. It was about demonstrating humanity's capabilities while minimizing loss of life. Each disabled ship represented resources that would no longer support the hegemony's oppression. Incoming transmission from the hegemony command ship, Communications Officer Liu announced. They're asking who we are. A grim smile crossed Chen's face as she straightened her uniform. Put them through on main display. It's time the hegemony learned that humanity is no longer content to remain in the shadows. The holographic display flickered to life, showing the shocked face of a hegemony high commander. The alien's 6 eyes widened as they took in Chen's human features. "This is Admiral Sarah Chen of the Earth Space Fleet," she announced, her voice carrying the weight of humanity's determination. "Your reign of oppression ends today. The galaxy will be free." As the disabled hegemony ships drifted in space, Chen knew this was only the beginning. The real war would start soon, but humanity was ready. They had spent years preparing not just weapons and ships, but strategies and alliances. The age of tyranny was about to end, and a new dawn of freedom would rise from the silence of space. The quantum drives hummed once more as the human fleet prepared to disappear back into the void, leaving behind a message that would echo across the galaxy. Humanity had emerged, and they would not be underestimated again. Breaking the chains, news of humanity's strike against the hegemony supply fleet spread through the galaxy like wildfire. On the planet Centauri Prime, the hegemony's military headquarters, High Marshal Vexthor slammed his crystalline fist against the command table, causing the holographic display to flicker. "How did we not see them coming?" he demanded, all 4 of his secondary breathing vents flaring with rage. An entire fleet doesn't simply appear from nowhere. His subordinates, a collection of the hegemony's finest military minds, remained silent. The attack had shaken their confidence in ways none of them wanted to admit. The humans weren't supposed to have this level of technology. They were supposed to be primitive, manageable, contained. Meanwhile, aboard the ESS Nightshade, Admiral Chen was reviewing the data from their first strike. The quantum phase technology had performed even better than expected, and the casualties had been minimal, exactly as planned. But she knew the hegemony wouldn't remain stunned for long. "We have confirmation from our deep cover agents," Maya Patel reported, bringing up a new tactical display. "The hegemony is mobilizing their primary battle fleets. They're abandoning their usual patrol patterns to protect their core worlds." Chen nodded, having anticipated this reaction. "Just as we planned. Their fear is making them predictable." Lieutenant Commander Jackson, status of Phase 2. Jackson's fingers danced across his console, bringing up a complex network of strategic positions. "All strike groups are in position, Admiral. The quantum phase generators are cycling perfectly, and our allies are standing by." The allies he referred to weren't other human ships. They were the crews of hegemony vessels who had secretly sided with humanity. Years of careful diplomacy and demonstration of Earth's true values had won them supporters throughout the ranks of their oppressors. "The hegemony thinks we're targeting their military assets," Chen said, addressing her bridge crew. "They don't realize that we're about to strike at something far more precious: their control over information." Across the galaxy, human stealth ships moved into position around the hegemony's primary communication hubs. These massive structures controlled the flow of data throughout controlled space, allowing the hegemony to maintain their narrative and suppress any hint of rebellion. "All ships report ready," Jackson announced. "Quantum synchronization complete." Chen took a moment to appreciate the elegance of their plan. The hegemony's power wasn't built on military might alone. It was built on control, on the careful manipulation of information to keep subjugated species isolated and afraid. Today that would end. "Execute Phase 2, she ordered. Across dozens of systems, human ships materialized around communication hubs. But instead of weapons fire, they launched specially designed quantum frequency transmitters. These devices, developed in secret by Earth's best scientists, would override the hegemony's control of the information network. "Quantum frequency transmitters active," Paddle reported, breaking through their encryption. Now, throughout hegemony space, the carefully maintained channels of propaganda and control suddenly carried a different message. The truth about the hegemony's rise to power, their suppression of technological advancement in other species, and their systematic exploitation of resources began broadcasting on all frequencies. But more importantly, they transmitted proof that resistance was possible. The footage of human ships effortlessly defeating the supply fleet played alongside messages of hope and calls for unity against oppression. Hegemony ships are responding, Jackson reported, but they're scattered, disorganized. Their command structure is breaking down as the truth spreads. Chen watched as chaos erupted across hegemony space. Ships began breaking formation, some turning against their own fleet as long-buried resentments surfaced. The careful hierarchy that had maintained control for centuries was crumbling. Incoming transmission, Liu announced. Multiple sources. Admiral, these are coming from within hegemony ranks. They're asking to defect. A fierce smile crossed Chen's face. This was the true power of humanity's revolution, not the advanced technology or tactical superiority, but the ability to inspire hope in others. The hegemony had ruled through fear and isolation, but humanity offered something different: unity, freedom, and the chance for all species to reach their full potential. Prepare to receive our new allies, Chen ordered, and get me a channel to Earth Command. Tell them Phase 2 was successful. The chains are breaking. As the hegemony's grip on power began to slip, Chen knew the real fighting was about to begin. The oppressors wouldn't give up their control easily, and there would be hard battles ahead. But humanity had changed the game forever. They had shown the galaxy that resistance was possible, that technology could be matched, that tyranny could be overcome. The quantum drives hummed as the ESS Nightshade prepared to lead its fleet to the next objective. The revolution had begun, and there would be no turning back. The age of the hegemony was ending, and a new era of freedom was about to dawn. Echoes of revolution. The great halls of the Resistance Command Center on Europa buzzed with activity as representatives from dozens of formerly subjugated species gathered to coordinate their efforts against the hegemony. Admiral Chen stood before the assembled delegates, the ice crystals of Europa's surface visible through the transparent dome above. The hegemony's control is fragmenting, she explained, gesturing to the holographic map showing the current state of the galaxy. But they're not defeated yet. They're consolidating their forces around their core systems, preparing for a massive counterattack. Among the delegates, a tall Severian named Kitol rose, their bioluminescent patterns pulsing with determination. The Severians had been among the first to join humanity's cause after the communications blackout was broken. The hegemony stripped our worlds of resources for centuries, Kitol's translator conveyed. Now they expect us to cower as they gather their strength. We will not hide any longer. Similar sentiments echoed through the chamber as other species voiced their support. The Nexari, whose advanced computing abilities had been suppressed for generations. The Vulturi, whose worlds had been turned into mining colonies. Each had their own story of oppression, and each was ready to fight. Aboard the ESS Nightshade, Lieutenant Commander Jackson coordinated with the growing Alliance fleet. The addition of ships from other species had nearly tripled their effective combat strength, but it also presented new challenges. The hegemony's falling back to their fortress worlds, he reported to Chen after her return from the summit. They're activating defensive systems we didn't even know existed. Old technology, from before they began suppressing advancement in other species. Maya Patel brought up the latest tactical analysis. They're desperate. Our quantum phase technology neutralized their primary advantages, but these older systems, they're different, more fundamental. They're trying to change the rules of engagement. Chen studied the data, her mind racing through possibilities. The hegemony's ancient defensive systems operated on principles that even quantum phase technology couldn't completely bypass. But perhaps that wasn't necessary. They think technology alone will save them, Chen mused. That's always been their weakness. They never understood that true strength comes from adaptation, from working together, from finding new solutions. She turned to her crew, seeing the same determination in their eyes that she'd witnessed in the Resistance Council. Contact our allies. It's time to show the hegemony what real innovation looks like. Over the next several days, an unprecedented collaboration unfolded. Human quantum phase technology merged with Severian energy manipulation. Nexary computational systems integrated with Bolcheri mineral-based data storage. Each species contributed their unique strengths, creating something entirely new. "The combined fleet is ready," Admiral Jackson reported. "Though I'm not sure fleet is the right word anymore. What we've created, it's something else entirely." Chen nodded, watching as the massive formation took shape. Ships of different species linked together through newly developed quantum neural networks, sharing power, data, and capabilities in ways the hegemony had never imagined possible. The hegemony tried to keep us divided because they feared what we could accomplish together. She addressed the combined fleet. "Today, we proved them right." The attack began not with a direct assault, but with a demonstration of their combined capabilities. Human ships phased through the hegemony's ancient barriers, while Severian vessels redirected the defensive energy back against itself. Nexary systems predicted and countered the enemy's responses before they could even be implemented. "Multiple hegemony vessels breaking formation," Paddle reported, unable to keep the excitement from her voice. "Their commanders are realizing their old tactics won't work against us." But the true turning point came when the hegemony's own ships began to turn. Years of suppression and control were giving way to a wave of rebellion that spread through their ranks. The truth broadcasts had done their work well, planting seeds of doubt that now bloomed into full resistance. High Marshal Vexthor watched in horror as his carefully maintained order crumbled. "Impossible," he hissed through his breathing vents. "We controlled everything. Every advancement, every communication, every species except humans," his aide finished quietly. "And they showed the others how to break free." The battle for the hegemony's fortress worlds wasn't won through overwhelming force or superior technology alone. It was won through the combined strength of species working together, each contributing their unique abilities to a greater whole. As the dust settled and the hegemony's ancient defenses fell silent, Chen received messages from across the galaxy. More species were rising up, more ships were joining their cause, more worlds were breaking free from centuries of oppression. "What do we do now, Admiral?" Liu asked as they watched the combined fleet secure another victory. Chen smiled, thinking of all the possibilities that lay ahead. "Now we build something new, something better." The hegemony tried to control the galaxy by keeping everyone separate and afraid. "We'll show them a different way, one where every species is free to reach their full potential, where we grow stronger by working together." The quantum drives hummed with new harmonics, their energy interacting with Severian fields and Nexary computations in ways that defied old understanding. The revolution wasn't just breaking chains anymore. It was forging new links, stronger ones, built on cooperation instead of control. The age of isolation was ending. The echo of revolution would resound through the galaxy, carrying with it a message of hope and unity that would reshape civilization itself. Warriors of light. Deep within the secure laboratories of the ESS Nightshade, Dr. Arya Zhang made final adjustments to the prototype photonic core. The crystalline structure pulsed with an inner light that seemed to bend reality around it, the culmination of humanity's most closely guarded technological breakthrough. "The integration is stable," she reported to Admiral Chen, who watched intently from behind the quantum-shielded observation window. "The photonic matrices are synchronizing with the quantum phase generators exactly as theorized." Chen nodded, her expression grave. They had hoped to hold this technology in reserve, but the hegemony's desperate counterattacks had forced their hand. The enemy had begun employing forbidden weapons from their ancient arsenals, weapons that threatened to tear apart the fabric of space itself. Multiple dimensional rifts detected in the Proxima sector. Maya Patel's voice came through the ship's comm system. "The hegemony is getting reckless. They're deploying temporal disruptors without regard for civilian populations." Chen's jaw tightened. The human ships moved into formation, their photonic cores beginning to resonate in perfect harmony. Light itself seemed to bend around them, creating patterns that defied conventional physics. Hegemony fleet detected, Paddle reported. They're charging their temporal disruptors. Dimensional instabilities increasing in the target zone. Chen watched as reality itself began to warp under the influence of the hegemony's weapons. But this time, they were ready. Dr. Zheng's voice came through the comm system. The combined photonic network is ready, Admiral. All Allied ships report successful integration of their unique systems. This was the culmination of everything they had fought for. Not just the technology or the tactics, but the proof that different species working together could achieve what none could do alone. Human photonic cores resonated with Severian energy fields, while Mechsiri computers optimized the entire network in real time. Begin the approach, Chen ordered. All ships, maintain formation. Remember your training and trust in each other. The Allied fleet moved forward as one, their combined technologies creating something entirely new. The hegemony's temporal distortions crashed against shields of pure light, while spatial warps were countered by precise quantum phase adjustments. From the central spire, High Marshal Vex Thor watched with all 6 eyes wide as his defenses failed to stop the advancing fleet. How? He demanded of his subordinates. How can they possibly counter every weapon we possess? The answer came not from his officers, but from the millions of beings across the galaxy who had lived under hegemony control. The truth broadcasts continued to spread, carrying messages of hope and unity that no amount of temporal distortion could silence. This is Admiral Chen to all hegemony forces, her voice carried across every frequency. Your weapons cannot stop us because we're not fighting with weapons alone. We're fighting with understanding of technology, of each other, and of the future we can build together. As if to emphasize her words, the Allied fleet began its final attack. But instead of destruction, their combined technologies worked to contain and neutralize the hegemony's desperate defenses. Human photonic cores stabilized regions of warped spacetime, while Severian energy fields contained the backlash of failing temporal weapons. Multiple hegemony ships are powering down, Paddle reported. They're requesting to join us. Chen nodded, unsurprised. The hegemony's own people had seen the truth, that cooperation and mutual advancement were stronger than control and suppression. One by one, the defensive systems around Hegemony Prime began to shut down. In the central spire, Vex Thor faced the inevitable. We had such power, he whispered. We controlled everything. No, Chen responded as she led the delegation that entered the council chambers. You tried to control everything, and that was your mistake. Real power comes from freedom, the freedom to grow, to innovate, to work together. The surrender of the Hegemony Council wasn't just the end of a war, it was the beginning of a new era. Representatives from all species gathered in those same crystal spires to begin building something new. A galactic coalition founded on principles of mutual respect, shared advancement, and cooperative development. What happens now? Liu asked as they watched the celebrations begin across the galaxy. Chen looked out at the stars, thinking of all the possibilities that lay ahead. Now we do what humanity does best. We explore, we learn, we grow. But this time, we do it together with all the species of the galaxy. The quantum drives hummed one last time as the ESS Nightshade prepared to return to Earth. They had achieved something greater than military victory. They had shown the galaxy a new way forward, one where technology served understanding rather than control, where different species worked together instead of against each other. As the celebrations continued across the stars, the message was clear. The age of the hegemony was over. The dawn of freedom had arrived. And with it, the promise of a future brighter than any sun in the galaxy. The great experiment was just beginning, and humanity would help lead the way, not through control or domination, but through cooperation, innovation, and the unshakable belief that together, anything was possible.